Jesse, so Ray, your partner here, colleague,
comrade,
she got, seeing the protest in Greece and Europe elsewhere. Did you guys take your cue from that? Are you hoping to incite, certainly what was a lot of attention, if not police activity? I know over the weekend there was over 100 arrests, and you guys got things fired up. Are you taking your cues from the international movement? And how do you want to see this in? What do you, if you could have it in a perfect way, how would it be?
Well, I don't know. It's really difficult to kind of answer questions leading to those conclusions. I'd say that we didn't take our cue off of anybody, really. It became a more spontaneous movement. As far as seeing this end, I wouldn't like to see it end. I'd like to see the conversation continue. This is what we should have been talking about after 2008 when the economy collapsed. We basically patched a hole on the tire and said, yeah, let the car keep rolling. Unfortunately, it's fun to talk to the propaganda machine in the media, especially conservative-leaning networks such as yourself, because we find that we can't get conversations on the Department of Justice's ongoing investigation of News Corporation, for which you are an employee, but we can certainly ask questions like, why are the poor engaging in class warfare? Now, after 30 years of having our living standards decrease while the wealthiest 1% have had it better than ever, I think it's time for maybe, some participation in our democracy that isn't funded by news cameras and gentlemen such as yourself.
Okay, but let me give you this challenge, Jesse.
Sure.
We're here giving you an opportunity on the record with Credit Ancestry to put any message you want out there, give you fair coverage, and I'm not going to in any way be biased about it. So there is an exception to the case because you wouldn't be able to get your message out without us, yes?
No, certainly. Take for instance when Glenn Beck was doing his protest and he called the president a person who hates white people and white culture. That was a low moment in Americans' history, and you guys kind of had a big part in it. So I'm glad to see you coming around and kind of paying attention to what the other 99% of Americans are paying attention to, as opposed to the far-right fringe who would love to just destroy the middle class entirely.
All right, fair enough. You have a voice and an important reason to criticize myself, my company, and anyone else. But let me ask you this. In fairness, does this administration or President Obama have any criticism as to the financial situation in the countries in there?
I think myself, as well as many other people, would like to see a little bit more economic justice or social justice, Jesus stuff, as far as feeding the poor, health care for the sick. I find it really entertaining that people like to hold the Bill of Rights up while they're screaming at gay soldiers, but they just can't wrap their heads around the idea that a for-profit health care system doesn't work. So let's just look at it like this. If we want the president to do more, let's talk to him on a level that actually reaches people, instead of asking for his birth certificate and wasting time with total nonsense like Solandra.
We have some new video of a Wall Street protest that shut down a major New York City bridge this weekend. New York City police handcuffing more than 700 members of the group that's called Occupy Wall Street. And they were demonstrating on the Brooklyn Bridge. The protesters shut down a lane of traffic. It was for several hours yesterday. And their cries against Wall Street continue downtown this afternoon. Julie Banderas is live in our New York newsroom with more. Julie.
Yeah, it had been peaceful up until yesterday anyway. The group Occupy Wall Street had orchestrated an impromptu trek to Brooklyn. But as they walked in thick rows on the sidewalk up to the Brooklyn Bridge, some actually spilled onto the roadway after being told to stay on the pedestrian pathway by police. Then this happened. And those who didn't comply, a total of 700 people were then arrested for disorderly conduct and released. Some protesters said that they were lured onto the roadway by police. Some sat on the roadway chanting, "Let us go," while others yelled at police from a walkway above. Now, police say no one there was tricked into being arrested, and those in the back of the group who didn't hear those announcements were allowed to leave. The demonstrators, meantime, have been camped out there in the financial district for 2 weeks now, holding signs in protest of everything, really, from corporate greed and social inequality to global warming. It had been peaceful until clashes with police began yesterday after they swarmed the Brooklyn Bridge and shut down a lane of traffic for several hours. Also, other parts of the country, there are protesters gathering there as well in Albuquerque, New Mexico, Denver, Boston, and Los Angeles to express their solidarity with the movement here in New York. Turnout has reached as high as a few thousand in some places. Back here in New York City, a core group of people, about 200 in all, remain camped out throughout the week, sleeping on air mattresses, using Mac laptops, and playing drums. A few times a day, they'll march down to Wall Street yelling, "This is what democracy looks like."
They're trying to corral the people. The police say, look, they were blocking pedestrian traffic and they were blocking vehicle traffic, and we were trying to corral them so that traffic could go through and trying to sort of maintain a sense of order. Now you see that then I guess it's the pepper spray happens right there, and the women go down. Arthur, I don't know. And I see these women screaming. It's like they've been shot in the face. Now, listen, I've never been pepper sprayed in the face, but I mean, is there going to be an argument that they're being overly dramatic, that they're playing it up for the cameras?
And that very well may be the fact. It's just so hard to tell by these videos. You know what's interesting, Megan? When you look at a lot of these videos, the police shot a lot of their own video. You see NYPD officers who are officially videotaping what's going on to prove that they're not using excessive force. Mayor Bloomberg was on the radio saying that these people did not have the proper permits to do so, and that although they have a right to protest, they do not have a right to prevent Arthur Aidala from getting to the courthouse because they blocked the street, which leads to the courthouse.
When are the police allowed to use pepper spray? What circumstances would justify spraying those women?
Well, I can't speak of every situation.
No,
I guess it depends on the circumstances. But certainly not when someone's on a sidewalk exercising their free speech.
But what if the women are like pushing against, let's say these women, and I don't know what the case is, but what if these women were pushing against the orange netting? Now, clearly they're going to say that wasn't the case. But, you know, do the police have some sort of potential defense in saying they laid hands on me? You know, I'm not under an obligation to let them lay hands on me, and I didn't want to push back. I thought the pepper spray would be more effective.
Absolutely. Sounds like a reasonable use of it if they're not going to, again, a great alternative to using a billy club or a more serious weapon on them. Sure, it just depends factually on what they did. And I don't know, we don't have the tape, but some of these people who were on the sidewalk yelling, even outrageous and offensive things, should not have ever been touched.
And also, Megan, what people should know about the NYPD is, you see the guy in the white shirt who's making the arrest? In the NYPD, that's at least the rank of a lieutenant. Not even a sergeant. That's a lieutenant or a captain or an inspector. These are the most experienced, most of the guys with the most longevity on the force are in the middle of this. I mean, Ray Kelly sent his A-team out there to prevent any kind of melees, and I think they did the bare minimum that they had to do to maintain control of the situation for all the rest of the citizens out there who are affected by this.
They've been there all week, and they were looking for publicity. They got it in the end. Arthur, Mark, thank you both.
Thank you so much.
One quick final word for our viewers. Peaceful protests unlawfully are at the core of our rights as Americans. Disorderly conduct, blocking traffic, and assaulting a police officer do not qualify as peaceful. If that's what happened here, we'll wait and see it play out.